gentleman there. Okay. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, John Bailey. Yes, John Bailey, freelance journalist. A question.
No. What's your name?
John Bailey, freelance journalist. Can you ask members of the panel to speak about the prospects for talks between the Taliban, the coalition forces, Karzai's government and the Pashtuns, please?
Okay, thank you. Bob?
Chair, Bob Russell, I'm involved with Christian CND, but I'd like to pick up a point which, at least it came through to me, that Dawood raised. He mentioned particularly about Taliban propaganda constantly referring to casualties suffered by civilians and others as a result of Allied bombing and military activities. Let me also point out that when we hear the news in this country, all we ever hear about are Allied casualties and in particular British service casualties. You don't hardly ever hear about casualties of the Americans or other service personnel out there. And are you therefore surprised that the general public gradually becomes more and more disillusioned with this whole business if we do not feel that we are being told truthfully what this war is really bringing about? And I do beg to differ with the General there. I think this, for most ordinary people like us, is war. It is not some intervention at the request.
Okay. Thank you.
My name is Andrew Warren from Warren Wants. I have a question. If the letter from the Minister read at the beginning of this meeting and also what Peter Gilchrist said is correct, why are more and more members of the British Armed Forces becoming gravely concerned about what they're doing in Iraq and Afghanistan, even to this extent of one senior member of the British Armed Forces leading the recent anti-war march in London? The actual truth is, in the case of Iraq and Afghanistan, we have got no damn business to be over in the first place.
Okay, thank you. So the question about the prospects of
talks between the Taliban.
Yes, please. I don't think we can quite leave it there. Jackie, I think you may have missed what I said, but I personally believe that the UN has a much stronger coordination role it needs to actually arrange and project manage a lot of the work that's going on. And there's a lot of money flowing into Afghanistan, a lot of it is leaking. Many countries, ours included, put it into the Afghan Reconstruction Trust Fund, which is a World Bank coordinated activity. And if all nations could be persuaded to do that, rather than give direct aid and form parallel government structures, then I think we'd be able to start to get some move ahead. But at the moment, I don't think the UNAMA is strong enough to do that, and I don't think many of the international community are prepared to put their money into the Afghan Reconstruction Trust Fund, and the US particularly being the worst one on that front. From Hannah's point of view, Hannah can probably answer the 80-20 question better than I can because she's just come back. But it's a mix. Our provincial reconstruction team is a mix of civilians and military. It is not. We do not have enough civilians there at the moment, and so some of the military are filling the civilian holes, and that is a fact. So persuading the civilian part of the government to deploy, we used to be very good with our colonial services and so on. There's much less of an expeditionary feel about it at the moment. Part of the problem is because they don't know how much fun Hannah had doing this, because all they can hear in the press is, another soldier's come back to Wooden Basset, and actually not the fact that a huge advance has been made. And to answer Bruce's point, the whole point about a counterinsurgency operation is that once you have got a stable government in place, you then have a moral responsibility to then help them rebuild that country. If you walked away from Afghanistan at the moment, you would implode the whole region. It would be a complete and utter nightmare. And so we have been there since 2001, or beginning of 2002. ISAF invited to produce stability, and UNAMA given the task to help reconstruct the country.
Is that what you did in Iraq? Is that what you did in Iraq?
Okay, Daud?
Yeah, there was a question about strategic communications. Taliban are very good at that because they're available to the media, to reporters. Most of the time they themselves contact the reporters. But with the government and foreign troops, the journalists have to chase them. Sometimes they're available and sometimes they are not available. But Taliban are they're waiting for a call from anybody in the media. So that's the main difference, availability. And then, yes, there are some positive stories, and media is one of them. There are more than 20 television channels in Afghanistan today, more than 20 satellite television stations. There are tens of radio stations in the country. There are hundreds of publications throughout the country. So these are the stories that are covered by some media organizations, but you might be right that some media organizations don't focus on positive stories.
Okay. Comment for a minute?
Yeah, just to say, I'm amazed at this idea that the media in this country is anti-war. I mean, it just simply is not true. The BBC repeatedly reports good stories from the army's point of view. The journalists are embedded with the army. It just simply isn't true, and I agree with Bruce. If we are serious about reconstruction, why are we spending 10 times as much on the military as on helping people? And why is it, therefore, that the Afghan situation, particularly that of women, is certainly not improving and probably is getting worse?
Thank you. Round of another 3 questions. Just one second. The gentleman over there, yeah, you are here, and yeah, you. You are first. Okay, we can have both.
Okay.
So we have four this time.
I just have one question. My name is Giorgio Riva. I belong to an organization called Payday. And I'd like to know what the panel thinks about the question that the soldier that Andrew Warren mentioned and Lindsey German mentioned also in her answer is actually now in prison and threatened with 10 years for desertion and other charges. My position and our position, and I believe a lot of people here, think that we have a duty to defend somebody like Joe Benton, who is facing the whole wrath of the state because he had the boldness to speak against it. Something that is not certainly meted out, as his mother said, against those generals, soldiers, officers who speak. Sorry,
can you have the question?
The question is, I know what Lindsey German and I believe I know what Bruce can think of this. If it is right for somebody to be in jail 10 years or something, I'd like to know what the other thing.
Thank you. The gentleman next to your name, please.
Jacob Bonnet, World Future Council. Bruce has, of course, got the point. You know, if you want to help the poor, you don't have to go and bomb the country first. There are many countries you'd be very, very welcome. So why are we in Afghanistan? When, after 9/11, there was no restraint from the US because the Taliban offered, and this is documented, to hand over Bin Laden to Pakistan. The US said to Pakistan, don't take him because they wanted a war, and Britain, as usual, went along. And now you have the situation, which is whatever happens in Afghanistan, you have lost worldwide. You go around, not just the Islamic world, even to China, and you find Bin Laden, this mass murderer, is the hero of most of the people in the majority of countries in the global south. This has been the effect, the global effect of this mad policy of starting this war.
Thank you.